Woot woot. What's up, Previews World? It's Wednesday, it's New Comic Book Day, which means it's time for Previews World Weekly. Why are you always so much taller than me, Ashley? This is like the opposite of real life. Here you go. Okay.
Because I have my iPad stacked up on 6 Archie trades.
Oh, okay. Okay, that's fair. That's a good use of Archie trades, I guess. Ashton, I'm Troy. You're Ashton. Welcome to Previews World Weekly.
Hey, howdy, hey.
Hey, howdy, hey. This is the first episode of the new year. Like, we did our cool year-end episode that seems to have been very popular, which I'm happy to say. Got some nice pull quotes that I've been dropping on the social media feed, and people have been having quite a good time with it. I saw a lot of people really excited about your Zuko comment. Like, there's a lot of Avatar. We already knew there's a lot of Avatar Last Airbender fans out there, but yeah, I got a lot of people who are just like overjoyed to see Zuko getting his moment in the sun and getting his redemption arc. So there you go.
He deserves it. That whole story was lost on 8 to 12-year-olds.
What's up, Ken? What's up, Ken Tartar? What's up with you? How you doing, buddy? So, real quick, this is normally the segment of the show that we talk about things we saw this past week, right? Mm-hmm. And so, look, I can't even say one of my favorite rapper, period. All right, just passed away. And apparently he passed away back on October 31st. But of course, we're talking about MF Doom. If you're not familiar with him, why am I bringing this up on Previews World Weekly? He embodied a persona that was very much that of a comic book supervillain. A matter of fact, some of his original albums before I think Marvel kind of came down on him featured Dr. Doom on the cover. Ultimately, he settled on the gladiator mask and just continued with the persona of MF Doom. And he played up this angle of like this great dictator. The great thing about this was that, like, of course, it was completely fictional, right? But he showed up during the time when, like, I'd say roughly we were at the tail end of hip hop's gangster rap phase, right? Where everybody wanted to be, I mean, we're still in the period, we're back in it now, I guess, where everybody wants to be a drug addict and shoot people. But, but it's a completely different animal than what it was in the 90s. Right. He came in on the tail end of that. And this was kind of a resurgence of his career because he had had a whole different persona before this. And he came in as MF Doom, and like he has an album called Operation Doomsday where he basically talks about his scientific intelligence and basically breaking the world in any way, shape, or form to be the ruler of the world. And it was some of the most gangster stuff. Like, it was so good. It was so good. And it is such a tragic loss to have him gone. But you know what? The guy was very prolific. And so I can tell you right now, I have an MF Doom playlist that I've had for years of mixtapes and bootlegs and also official stuff he's released that is like a mile long. So yes, it'll take you about 12 days to listen to everything MF Doom has released, even more. And he was an indie guy, he wasn't a major label guy. So I just want to give a little nod to MF Doom, give him a shout out. We lost an amazing artist, and there is literally not going to be anyone else like him. And that is a guarantee. So just wanted to do that. Ashton, what's up, Dawn Cochran? Hey, howdy, hey, as Ashton likes to say.
Hey, howdy, hey.
Ashton, how did you spend your holiday week? Or holiday weekend, or both?
I mean, at home with my parents and my brother. Okay. My brother got engaged. He proposed to his girlfriend 2 days before Christmas, which is not comic book related, but I'm so excited for him. So
good. I mean, it's good. It's good that you're excited for him. That's a good sign.
Right. So over the New Year's weekend, my brother and I sat down with my parents and we tried to watch Infinity War with them. It was their first time seeing it, and they're like, my parents are deeply casual Marvel fans. They'll watch it if it's on TV, but they don't really keep up with it. And my brother and I have been you gotta see Infinity War, it's so good, hyping it up. And so we finally get them to sit down and watch it. It was a train wreck. It was a mess. We only got 40 minutes into it before we just quit. We were like, this is not worth it. Wow, my dad was half watching it, half playing Tetris on his phone, asking the most ridiculous, why is Thanos purple? Why is Cap and Iron Man fighting? Why is Iron Man in space? And we were just it got to a point where we were we can't. Like, this is not going anywhere.
You know what? I like. God bless. I'm currently with a person who asks a million questions during a movie, so you have my sympathy, have my utmost sympathy. One of the joys of theaters opening back up is I could just go to the movies by myself and stop answering questions. But I guess that's
Right.
not happening anytime soon. So, yes, all the shade. I don't care if she is my girl. It's all the shade, and she knows it. God bless her. So, all right, yeah, first episode of the new year, which means we got a ton of new comics coming out this week, right? So a ton of new stuff for the new year. So how about we jump into what's the comic shops? Ashton and I are going to give you our picks for the week. Let's check this out. So I guess I'll go first. I actually have a comic. You actually don't have a comic, actually,
I
which is
don't.
but it's very comic adjacent, which is actually kind of interesting. I was eyeballing it too, so I won't give it away. My pick this week is actually a collected edition of Donny Cates' Guardians of the Galaxy run. Marvel released a nice hardcover this week,
Ooh.
and basically, look, there's videos everywhere on Previous World. I feel like back in like 2018, 2019, of me talking about Thanos wins and Cosmic Ghost Rider. Well, this was the immediate follow-up to that storyline. And it also spins out of another event that it resulted in Gamora killing Thanos. And so the book is basically starts with Thanos' last will and testament, which of course goes absolutely haywire and ends up engulfing a large chunk of Marvel's galactic space universe characters. Like, I'm talking, of course, about the Guardians of the Galaxy, but of course you get Silver Surfer, and then that spins off into Silver Surfer Black. And then it also spins off into some of Donny Cates' more current stuff, like the King in Black, in a small way, the King in Black, and also his Thor run. So I've said this before a million times. I am a big fan of. I'm a big fan of following a writer and letting them and seeing them play in their little sandbox. In a given universe. That's something that I've always appreciated, as opposed to hopping around like an entire line to read like 5 different books by 5 different writers. I like the one voice, and I like Donny Cates' voice, and he definitely seems to have an affection and a handle on these characters, like just a really strong grasp on them. So yeah, if you haven't read this and you are reading the King in Black stuff right now, or you're reading Thor, you might want to jump back and read this, because this is actually a lot of fun. It's really cool, especially that first story arc. That first story arc is just absolutely fun. So, Guardians of the Galaxy by Donny Cates hardcover. There you go. Ashton, what is your pick this week?
So my pick this week, like you said, it's not a comic book. It's a traditional prose novel, but it is from Al Ewing, so very beloved in the comic book industry. It's called Fictional Man. So it centers on a screenwriter named Niall Golan, and he's writing a remake of a spy classic. And the studio decides that producing his movie, decides that instead of hiring an actor, they want to take all of the traits of his protagonist and create what they call a fictional. So fictionals are basically these characters, clones, if you will, people spun into like flesh and blood through technology. So like on a technicality, they're robots, but they're such close clones of humans that you almost can't tell the line, where the line is. And so these fictionals make up like a large portion of the population in this book. Anything you could imagine, therapists, busboys, like salespeople, could be fictionals. And they're so lifelike that it's hard, like I said, to tell where the line is. And so this will follow Niels as he's writing his story and having his protagonist created as a fictional, and he's kind of going to spiral into this whole thing about like, how do you differentiate between real and fiction, and what do those words even mean? And so I'm super excited about this, because we talk about robots a lot, and like, the robot like overlord, they're going to overthrow us all. And I think this is an interesting take on it, because when I think about what this looks like, it's always very robotic and very easy to tell, who's a human, who's a robot. And so when you blur this line of like making it a flesh and blood robot, like, is it still a robot? Is it a human? How do you, what defines humanity? So I think there could be a lot of interesting commentary in this.
No, and I mean, that's right there. You nailed it, right? Like, I mean, that is the question when it comes to robotics and AI, right? Like, what defines humanity? And like, I'm with you on that. That's really interesting. And also the concept of reality and fiction, especially in the era of fake news and
Mhm.
misinformation? Like that's also an interesting question. Also, it's
Yeah.
got Al Ewing, just like that everything you describe sounds like yes, that's an Al
Yeah.
Ewing concept. Like he swings big, and it's very imaginative, and this is also
Mhm.
a large reason that people love his runs on Immortal Hulk and the Ultimate. So definitely worth checking out this week. If your local comic shop doesn't have it, definitely check this out. Kenny Gibson, hi from the UK. What's up,
Ooh,
Kenny? What's going
what's
on in
up
the
in the
UK?
UK?
Yeah, what's up in the Is that never mind, that's Miley was it Miley Cyrus? I was about to say
Party in the USA.
this party in the USA. I was like, what's going on? Okay, no, that's not the song. I'm proud to admit I don't know anything about Miley Cyrus. Kenny Gibson says, great bloke, Al Ewing. There you go. Look at that. That's coming from one guy from the UK to the other. There you go. What else is available at your local comic shop this week? So we got a ton of big ticket items, but we're going to show you some of them. And be sure to go to PREVIEWSworld.com to releases for more. But we've got Enemy in here, and she's going to show you what's at comic shops, not just Fictional Man and not just Guardians of the Galaxy, but so much more. Check it out.
What's up, Previews World? Mia here, and I'm going to give you a look at some of the new titles in stores this week. Here's what's at comic shops for the week of January 6th, 2021. Is that it? No way. Your comic shop has something for every type of customer. So stop at a comic shop today, and I'll see you back here next week.
All right. And thank you, Anna Mia, for doing that. And like you can catch Anna Mia and her rundown of list of comic shops every week. We post it on our social media across the board. It doesn't matter where you are on previews. Just go to at Previews World and check it out. One thing I did notice, Ashton, is the Star Wars High Republic.
That thing's insane.
Yeah, like that's interesting, right? Is that something else you're considering picking up? Something worth checking out?
I did. I actually looked at it, and then I was like, I feel like I always talk about Star Wars, so I'll try something else. But yeah, it's set like it's a prequel to the prequel. It's set well ahead of the prequels, and the Jedi are kind of at their height of the rule over the galaxy. And it'll be interesting to play in a sandbox of different characters. And as I've said before, that's probably where they're most successful. But it's already headed to a third printing, so apparently it's
Oh wow, third printing. Okay, wow. Okay, all right.
Well anticipated.
And there's also a TV show coming. Am I right? Like, is there a TV show on the horizon? Okay, right. So yeah, it's really interesting that actually it's kind of cool that they're kind of introducing these concepts, and hopefully these are characters maybe will be in the TV show down the line. But yeah, really interesting. So yeah, Naku 100. Couldn't quite see that. Sorry. Hey, what's up with you, buddy? How's it going? What are you reading this week? Oi, also an Oi. Okay, is there a bunch of people not from America today? Hey, and that's from Twitch actually, which is nice. Oh, I forgot to mention. Yeah, I've been playing with our Twitch account lately, and it's kind of embarrassing. Like, I had a really good session of Halo. Like a few.
Wait,
like
what?
Yeah, I had a really great session of Halo like a week ago. And then I said, oh man, I should have recorded that and put it on our Twitch channel. So then, of course, I went back and recorded me playing that session on Halo, and I just ate complete and total dog shit.
Of course. Of course.
So I'm very glad that those videos will be gone in I think it's like a week or something like that. They just disappear from the account. But we're going to try to do more with that Twitch account in the future, hopefully. But actually, back to Star Wars real quick. We never got a chance to talk about Mandalorian. We did, like, the last episode aired, and then we had our big year-end episode, and it didn't really seem right to really talk about it. But the last episode, Ashton, what is your hot take? Give me the hottest take you have.
Oh my God.
She broed me. Okay.
Shit. I mean, darn. My hottest take is that you could probably, and you know what? I think Mike said this at one point in one of our meetings, one of our coworkers. You could probably, okay, you know what? My hot take is that The Mandalorian has done so much. The storytelling has far exceeded anything that they accomplished in the sequel trilogy.
Oh, yeah.
Don't at me. That is a fact.
That is a fact. And no, and I think it's hilarious that I think now, it always takes someone to prove it, right? Because I posted a meme like a couple of weeks ago on Instagram. J.J. Abrams said this, where he was like, well, we can't really appeal to the old fans and new fans at the same time. And then Kathleen Kennedy made this comment like a few months ago, or like actually a few years ago, about how they don't have how they don't have source material to pull from, like the Marvel comics, right? Which was just like, oh,
is
God.
that offensive? I think that is rude.
That's offensive. That is offensive, especially given in light of some of the authors of some of the old Star Wars books.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I just kind of have to pop in here for this.
Johnny.
Hi, Johnny Rose, interrupting producer here. I mean, like, there's no source material. What about Timothy Zahn's Heir to the Empire series?
Oh.
Like the novelization, the expanded universe in the novels. That's where Grand Admiral Thrawn first came.
Right.
Who appeared in, I think, was it Rebels or Clone Wars? I can't remember because I'm not caught up on that. But are you kidding me? There's no source material for Star Wars. Shh.
Go off, Johnny.
I'm sorry. Mad. This is me personally saying this, not anyone else who the company I work for. But shut the hell up.
Whoa,
Johnny out.
Johnny out. There you go. No, but I totally empathize with him. But I think that was really like her final, like, hello from Canada. Everybody's coming to us from outside of America. This is a good thing. Thank you. Yay. Thank you for joining us. Things in America are crazy right now. So hey, what's going on with the rest of you guys? But yeah, no, I remember when I first heard that statement, I thought I had made it up or someone had made it up, and then I saw her she actually said that. I'm like, ooh, I've always believed that we're going off track here, but like I've always believed that Kathleen Kennedy was always more of a money person in terms of, like, you have two different type of producers, right? You have the producers who are hands-on with the story, and you have the producers who are like very much the money people and let the creatives do what they want. And I've always been of the attitude that that's what Kathleen Kennedy was. Yeah. And so on that level, I can't really be too mad at her, because she's done what she's always done.
That's right. Like, I'll be mad at her for both of us. For both of us,
right? But back to Mandalorian. What a great ending, right? What a great way to cap off the season. And I think compared to like Wonder Woman 1984, right, which everybody seems very divided on.
Yeah.
That was a nice way to kind of end the year, right? And yeah, it was just cool. And like, I think I told you this earlier, but I'll say it again. I remember when that TIE fighter floated in to the docking bay, and I'm sitting there, I'm like, well, that looks like Luke's, but that's not Luke. Like, and then like he started fighting people in the hallways, and then I saw the gloved hand, and I was like, well, that's like Luke. But that's not Luke.
Right. Yo, I had the same thing, but like with the belt buckle, okay? Because when Force Awakens came out, my brother and I and like a friend, we all like cosplayed to go to the movie premiere. He dressed up as Luke from Return, and I remember finding the octagonal belt buckle was a whole thing. Like, it was difficult to find or whatever. So I was like locked in on that belt buckle. I was like, wait a second, that's an octagon. And then I saw the green lightsaber and the hilt, and I was done. I was like squealing. My boyfriend was like, can you shut up? And I was like, do you know who that is?
No, I was in absolute denial. I was like, they're not going to be this good to us. I was just so certain they weren't going to do this. I think that the CGI has come a long way since Tron Legacy. I think that's the first time that they started doing those de-aging techniques and start slapping them on the aging actor's face or whatever. It's not perfect, but overall, I mean, yeah, it was a thrill, and it was actually better than what they did with the whole CGI Princess Leia and Rogue One. So yeah. I'm with it. Like for the most part, it was believable. So just such a nice touch. You mentioned the R2 thing too. I remember you said something about the R2.
I love R2. Like, R2's just like, he's your piece through all of everything that like marks where you are in the timeline. He's like your one consistent thing. So I loved seeing him show up, and then like him and Grogu had like a moment, and I was like,
yeah, there was so much emotional manipulation going on there, but I can't hate on that. Like, it's just like, like to them, I just gotta be like, yo, hats off to you guys.
Yeah.
Like you gave people what they wanted and they loved it. So there you go. Anyway, back to comics this week. So one of the books out this week that you saw mentioned besides High Republic is actually the Eternals from Marvel. So it's actually interesting. I kind of feel like this book was supposed to be a lead into the movie at one point in time, not like a not like a prequel or something like that.
I forgot
But I
about
think it was
that.
meant to lob up the movie, just like the timing of it. And of course, everything got pushed back. But the good news is, look, the movie's probably not going to be here, I think, until the end of the year. But you got a new comic, and it's a comic by Kieran Gillen and Asad Ribic.
Ooh.
Like, I mean, like seriously, like it does not get much better than that. Like, there's a short list of combinations, and that's probably one of the best ones you could possibly get. So here you go, Eternals, and when we come back, a little social swamp time.
We are the Eternals, born in times long forgotten to defend the Earth and battle the deviants. We are immortal. We are protectors. We are not at all what we've been told we are. All that live will die. When I am done, there will be but a single thing that is eternal. Death.
And there you go, Eternals from Marvel. That's in comic shops right now. I know it said in the end you can get it at comic shops or digitally, but get it at comic shops. It's like, I mean, like, truthfully, I mean, because it's Asad Ribic, like his artwork, that like low key painterly, but also hand drawn style that he does, that is so wonderful and so perfect. You want to hold it in your hand. You want to look at it. Like it's just going to be that much of an experience. So definitely check that out. We got any more comments before we move to Social Swamp here, Johnny? Today, I am picking up the last Amazing Spider-Man plus last Batman, and then the new Batman, Flash, Harley Quinn. Number one, so many emotions. That's right. Future State, I believe, kicks off this week. So definitely check that out. Matter of fact, and I'll remind you as well. I didn't see your name, so I kind of flubbed that. But
hey, you.
Oh, Giles. Okay, there you go. Like the Watcher. There you go. Actually, just for a heads up, Giles, there's an article right now on PREVIEWSworld.com that is highlighting some of the big releases from 2021. And it's basically 17 exciting comics that you can read in 2021. Definitely check it out. And you know what? Future State is on there, but a bunch of other stuff is on there as well. So definitely check that out. It's on PREVIEWSworld.com right now. And that goes for all of you out there in internet's land. All right. So speaking of all of y'all's in internet's land, how about a little social swamp time? We'll fork it over to Ashton, and she's going to take the reins, and she's going to start some stuff, which is what she does best. Here we go, social swamp.
Okay. So I'm constantly on a mission to discover what will elicit a whole reaction. So found it. I asked you guys, we've had a heckity heck of a year in 2020. So I asked you guys, if a superhero could have saved us from 2020, who would it have been? And we got some reactions I was expecting. I expected a lot of Doctor Strange, and he did show up a lot. Also, some others that I did not see coming. So let's jump into this. Jem says, a superhero did. Her name is Wonder Woman, 1984. And then Chris replies, I say, yes, that movie was so bad it made me forget COVID. Oh, that's a good
I wanted Johnny to say that for the end of the big laugh, but no disrespect to the original poster. I just thought that was too funny.
Maki says Chuck Norris exposes himself to the coronavirus. Virus gets quarantined for 2 weeks.
I read that. And I still laughed at it. Like the Chuck Norris jokes. You keep thinking they're going to get old, and then someone comes up with a really good one every couple of years. I've noticed. Right. So shout out to you.
Shout out to that person because that's the first time I heard that.
Yeah, the first time I've heard it too.
PJ says Thanos would have made social distancing easier. Ooh. Yikes. Joanne says Baby Yoda did a good job keeping so many fans involved and happy as he grew more mysterious.
There you go. All right, I like that. That's a good one.
That's a solid answer.
Yeah.
Warren says Reed Richards, 3 weeks tops for a vaccine, another 3 for the world to be vaccinated.
Like Reed Richards probably would have been my choice too. So there you go. So Ashton, what's the deal with you? What do you think about who would have saved us from 2020?
Do you know what? Somebody on Twitter said they were like, alternatively, just give Thanos the Infinity Gauntlet back and see what happens. To which I was like, maybe not that far.
Yeah.
But I think the answer here is the Infinity Gauntlet plus insert good guy here that can like physically wield it without dying.
Okay. All right.
Which seems to be an issue is finding somebody to wield it. But I think just Doctor Strange with the Time Stone's not enough because there was so damn much that happened.
Right.
You need all the other stones to sort that one out.
Right.
So Infinity Gauntlet plus not Thanos. Maybe Iron Man?
Okay, fair enough. All right. Someone disagrees with you over there. I think I gave Johnny the graphic for One Punch Man just because I thought it'd be interesting. I thought it'd be amusing to see One Punch Man punch the hell out of an entire year.
Right.
Like if you've ever watched an anime or read that manga, that's literally what that book is about. Like there's no like it's not false advertising. Like he gets it down to one punch until he can't. So yes, absolutely. Outside of that, God, I don't know. Like I think this is more of a amusing or like, just me thinking about some of the larger conversations that happened in the last couple of weeks. I was hoping that it would be Wonder Woman. I was hoping that would be the cherry on top. We talked on the show, I think when Joaquin was on here, and I was all big up in Patty Jenkins and I had high hopes for that movie. Higher hopes than I did for Black Widow or some of the other movies that were supposed to come out this year. And it's just because I was convinced that they were going to, take all the stuff that was okay in the first movie, right? And just make a much better movie. Like, that's what you're supposed to do with sequels, right?
Generally, but that almost never happens.
It almost never happens. That's always wishful thinking, right? And you could probably count all the good sequels maybe on one hand. That's not probably true. Maybe two hands. Hey, Okinawa, what is going on here? Everybody's jumping in.
That's
Forster.
Roy, yeah. He does Free Comic Book Day with us to provide comics to our troops stationed in Okinawa, Japan.
Oh, that's really cool. All right, that's awesome. Thank you, Roy. Thank you for that. And thank you for jumping in. But yeah, I say all that to say, I was hoping it would be Wonder Woman, and then Wonder Woman turned out to be an interesting movie. It's very messy.
I heard that. I haven't seen it because I've gotten a lot of that. I have no clue what I just watched reaction.
Yeah, and I think that's definitely fair. But I was hoping it was Wonder Woman. I was hoping that there's the out of all the DC characters that have the movie interpretations right now, I feel like what they were doing with that character was very much in line with the comic. And so it's kind of it was a little disappointing for it to be well, this is the last major movie of the year. It's a movie that we've been waiting for since summertime at the very least, and it's been held off. And meh. Yeah, so I don't know. I don't know if I have a really great answer. I think I just really wanted to talk about the Wonder Woman movie for 5 seconds. So there you go.
I wanted to ask you something. So when I posted this on Twitter, and everyone responded, somebody was just generically like, Batman. And I was like, what is Batman going to do for our situation?
Well, Batman's the troll answer, right? I feel like that's at this point, Batman is the troll answer for everything. I'm sure there's people who believe Batman can do everything. Mind you, he's a fictional character, so I guess he can do whatever he wants if the writer permits, but
valid.
At the same time, it's Batman's not the solution to all things. Sorry, guys, can't help you there. Can't support you. Can't back you up at all. Do we have a weekly poll this week, Ashton? Do we have one at all?
No. Well, there's not a poll, but on Free Comic Book Day, I'm asking everybody what they're looking forward to in 2021, which actually goes nicely hand in hand with your article. So if you have something you're hyped for in 2021, find me on Free Comic Book Day and drop your response. I'll be retweeting and sharing some of those.
All right, cool. Yeah, let's keep the conversation going. Like, I saw some interesting articles this past week, and I've seen a few of them sprinkled out throughout the year. But I saw Hollywood Reporter did a piece about how, like, comic shops, not all of them, because I had a few people jump down my throat about that, but their comic shops are reinventing how they function because of COVID, and some of them are, I think, quite a few of them are finding success at this point in time, which is actually great. And we talked about this. We touched on this a little bit in our year-end episode as well. So yeah, like your comic shop has kind of become this new outlet for 2020 for the pandemic, for entertainment. And like, I don't know about you, but I kind of get tired of watching TV. Like even before the pandemic, I was already tired of watching TV. So comic books are kind of like a nice way to kind of, get those synapses firing, be a little bit more active. I always joke that comic books are not a passive medium because you have to read it, as opposed to movies and television, which are. Although I guess if you have to go to movies, that's a little bit different. But so definitely check out. Let us know what you're looking forward to in 2021, and if you have no idea, go to PREVIEWSworld.com and check out that article. This week's comic shop shout out.
Real quick, I wanted to. Hey guys, I just wanted to lend my bit about who could have saved us in 2020 because I'm kind of reflecting what somebody else already said, like who did save my 2020. This little guy.
Yeah, right.
Oh, it's
whoa.
the animatronic one.
How
I
freaking
have like regular Baby Yoda. I haven't taken him out of the box yet.
Oh, Troy's between two Baby Yodas. Troy, give me a kiss. Give me a kiss, Troy.
This is my new interview show, Between Two Baby Yodas. or this is a new sitcom on CBS. It's like the Brady Bunch. Right.
But yeah, I think Baby Yoda or the Mandalorian, Grogu, or whatever you want to call him, like help keep a lot of people home and a lot of people safe. Oh, he's doing this magic.
Oh God, what's going on here? Is he sleeping? Is he snoring?
Oh, he does go to sleep.
Right. What is that?
And now it's playtime with John, Troy, and Ashton.
And Grogu.
I think I'm weirded out by that.
All right. It's time for him to go. It's time for Baby Grogu to go to sleep. So Johnny out.
Any animatronic anything like stresses me out, and that's my own fault because I had like a huge Five Nights at Freddy's phase. So now I'm like, animatronics are gonna murder us all in the night. Oh
no! I feel like Five Nights at Freddy is doing God's work because if you were old enough to remember Chuck E. Cheese, I don't know if you were. I know they were around, but like they feel like they have slowly disappeared, not just from the public consciousness, but also just from life over the years.
Everywhere.
Yeah, from all everywhere. I think there's maybe like 2 or 3, like sprinkled around the Maryland area still, but like you knew kind of like as a kid that something wasn't right about those.
The animatronic band.
Right.
Miss me with that. Nope.
Were you at San Diego when they did the Deadpool thing where he had the animatronic Deadpool band and they were playing like all these different like top 40 songs?
Oh God. If I was, I thankfully missed it.
Okay. That was actually kind of amusing. Like it fit Deadpool perfectly. Like it was meant to be very much a Chuck E. Cheese type thing. It wasn't even promoting anything. They just had it there. It was just there. So that was kind of interesting. Anyway, comic shop shout out time. What's the comic shop shout out for this week?
This week's comic shop shout out goes to Johnny Destructo's Hero Complex, which is an amazing name. This is in Philly, Pennsylvania, and it comes from Comic Zen, who went on to talk about JD, who's one of his oldest friends and a total inspiration, one of the nicest humans to ever go into this business. He cares about his customers, and many of them become friends. So if you're in the Philly area, check out that shop, and apparently you'll find a new friend and also tons of new books to read.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, again, we got to reiterate, like, that's what comic shops really are for. Like, look, when I was growing up, you know what? Like, you had to go to a comic shop to find other nerds. And I know you don't necessarily have to do that now. But you know what? At the same time, I think that you'll have a more friendlier experience.
Yes.
As opposed to trying to have these conversations on the internet. If you go to your comic shop and, like, I know some people are like, oh, comic shops aren't always friendly. Well, then find one that is. Like, it was like, look, I don't think all Targets are friendly. I don't think all CVS are friendly. And you know what? Like, the place that you can go where everybody knows your name, right? is the place that deserves your money. So there you go.
Yeah.
And actually, speaking of which, before we roll out of here and we close out with Johnny Destructos, I want to let people know that Steve Geppi, he was on an interview this past week. So Steve Geppi, of course, is the man behind Diamond Comics Distributors. He's also behind Previous World, this wonderful show you watch here, as well as Free Comic Book Day and a host of other things. And so he's been in the comic book game for years. And matter of fact, someone said he curated the comic book game, you know. Yeah, he went on Dan Shanahan's comic book news show and had an interesting discussion about sort of it was almost like the state of the union of the comic industry. I think Steve is very much equipped to talk about. So if you're curious about that, definitely check that out. It's on Comic Book News on YouTube, and just look up the most recent episode of Steve Geppi. So definitely check that out. On that note, I want to remind you guys, follow, subscribe, join us here every week, Wednesday at 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific for Previews World Weekly. We're going to have some fun guests on later in the month. We've got 2 cosplayers, to have done some stuff with Dynamite. They're going to be joining us at the latter end of the month. And we're going to actually have some more guests on here because we think it's fun when we have people on here that we can yell at like we did on our big year. So, I think we had a great conversation with Joaquin and Jillian and Eli. And so I want to kind of keep that momentum going. So definitely keep an eye on us every Wednesday here wherever you're watching us right now. And man, 37 minutes. I guess we're making up for the hour and a half episode we did last week.
Yeah, I don't know how that ended up so short because I feel like we've covered a broad range of things.
We had a lot of stuff. That's interesting. But either way, I feel like we had a lot of conversation, but I guess it was only 37 minutes worth. But on that, there you go. But that's it for Previews World Weekly, guys. I am one of your hosts. Giles. Thank you again for the show. Helps change up the day when you code for 10 hours a day.
God. Your eyes are probably so tired.
Yeah. I just know I get tired looking at our feed, so I can only imagine what coding does to your brain. But anyway, thanks for joining us, guys. I'm one of your hosts, Troy Jeffrey Allen.
I'm your other host, Ashton Greenwood.
And we will see you guys at the spinner rack. We'll catch you later.
Don't forget that you can catch Previews World Weekly streaming live every Wednesday at 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific at Previews World on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch.